welcome to Steve McDonald's Crafting, and today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making Harry Potter's chest that he took all his stuff to Hogwarts in using this Amazon cardboard box. So what I've done is I've marked out where I want my lid to be, which is there, and I've also cut a piece for the base, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and just finishing off cutting off this lid. And I just used a ruler and a pencil to mark this off. Really easy to do. I love upcycling boxes. That's the base and that's the lid. I've already cut out these two semicircles out of the flaps that were on the side here that will fit here to make the top of the chest, and I've done one for each end, and that will secure it up. But before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue this base down. I'm just using a glue gun. Don't forget, I will link everything that I used today in the description below, so if you want to get hold of it, then it's easy to get hold of if you want to have a go at making one of your own. And believe me, these are really easy to make. And I'm just going to push that in there. And then that's the base of the box. It will just give it a little bit more rigidity. And this, I'm just going to glue these bits onto the side, and then I'll show you what I'm going to use to make the actual lid with. And all I'm going to do is with this, just go along. And you will find that the more you start to build, the actual more secure everything becomes. And it does all become quite rigid in the end. There's one. So what I've got here is I've just got another piece of a cardboard box that was a piece of just normal corrugated box. And what I've done is I just softened it off by running my finger through it like this. And that allows you to have that nice bend in it, like that. So then what I do is I then just, this is all nice and flexible now, and I want it to go this way, so it's like that. So all I will do is I will run this over the edge of my table, and that will soften all that off ready. I just need to cut a rough amount off. So if I cut it off to there, I don't need that bit at the moment, but I won't throw it away because I will use it for something else. And then I will measure from there, going across my things, like that. So I would need to glue that to there. What I'll do first is I will glue this bit onto this edge. That's the top of the chest, and that will just fit on there like so. I need to then place on here some more paper just to give it a bit more sturdiness. What I'm going to use is I'm going to use this packaging that came with the products that I ordered, and that will smooth out all these edges as well, and it will stop it really looking like a cardboard box. So all I'm going to be using to stick this down with is a little bit of PVA glue, or Elmer's glue, or school glue, whatever you've got on handy really, white glue. And then I'm going to add a little bit of water with that, just to thin it down a bit. But if your glue's already thin, then you don't need to worry about that. And then I'm just going to mix that in. It just thins it out a little bit, and it makes it easier to put on. I'm going to do the inside and the edges of the box first. So I'm just going to paint a bit on, like that. Making sure it's well covered. And I'm going to take my paper, and I'm just going to cut bits off it. And put it on there nice and tight. And put it round, and then I will paint over that paper with the glue. And then it will stick nicely to the cardboard. Well, this is all nicely dry now, and it's gone lovely and hard, and as you can see it's starting to take on the shape of the chest that I'm looking for. And also with covering it in this thin paper, it gives it what I'm hoping will be a nice leathery feel or look at the end. So what I now need to do is I now need to put some details on it, and the details that I'm going to put on are using some corner strips like this. So I'm going to put them on all the corners. I'm also going to have a strip going across there and around all there. And a strip running all the way around of this on here before I put on what I want to put on for the lock and the straps and get onto painting and decorating it. And these are really easy to make. All I make them out of is when you get the Amazon envelope kind of cards like this. It's nice and thin. So I just cut off some bits. These are the strips that I'm using that will go around, and I did that by eye. I made a decision on what size I wanted to use here, and then I cut them to that size. So I'll just quickly show you how I do that. So the ones I've done here are 3 centimeters, which is just over an inch wide. And all I do to use those is I mark them up using a pencil, line my ruler up, open my knife, and I will link the knives and everything that I use in the description of this video, and then just go down it like so. And then I want this to bend nice and neatly like this one. So all I do is, again, I measure halfway there, so which is, for me, it's 1.5 centimeters. Pop my ruler on it, on each mark, so I've got a nice straight and even line, and then lightly just score it down, so it's not going all the way through, but it has scored down, and then I can fold that along that score line to get myself these. And then how I will put those on is I'll just measure them up, because each side of the box might be slightly different. I just get my hot glue gun, pop my hot glue onto there, and then pop that onto there. And I shall go round, do all of them, and then I shall put the strips in between, and I'll come back when I've done that. I've finished off all these bits now, so as you can see, they're going round the edges, and I've also put them inside this lid to give it a bit more rigidity, and the same for the bottom of the trunk. And what I want to do now is I want to put some little rivety details on these going around them, and they're really easy to do. All I've done is I've cut another strip of the envelope off. I've got a hole punch like this. I've just gone through the hole punch and punched out some holes, and those are what I'm going to use to stick onto here as little rivets, and I've made those, and I'll use just the glue gun again, pop those on, and I will try and do them quite centrally. For example, the first one I will put there, and then I'll put probably another one there, and one there. So there's 4 in each row. So I've put all my little rivets on, and I really do think that this is starting to come together now, and I'm really starting to love it. And I did a bit on the top as well, as you can see. Now, the other thing is, obviously I need a way of fixing this. I don't want this just to come on or off. So what I've got is, I've got a couple of little latches here that I got off the internet, and I will link these as well, and some wonderful tiny little hinges, and they were so cheap. And what I can do is, because I've double thicknessed this up, I will be able to screw those in, because they come with really tiny screws. But then I'll also put a bit of glue in it to make it a lot more secure. I also will be putting some designs on here, some stickers on here that I'm going to make as well. And if you want to know how I make my stickers, then I've got a video on that already on the channel. I'll link it at the end of this one. And I'm going to make some stickers, put them on after I've painted it. It is actually now quite robust, because it's got glue on it, it's got paper on it, and it's got quite a lot of cardboard on it. I'm going to paint these bits metallic-y gold, because I want it to be quite bright. And this, the actual what I want to be looking like leather, I'm going to paint that quite some dark colours, some browns and some reds in there. I'll also probably paint these rivets black and see what they look like, but if I don't like them, then I'm going to paint them a different colour. The colours that I'm going to be using for this are burnt umber, Mars black, and scarlet red, but I'm probably going to tone this down a little bit. And I'm also going to be using this Fantasy Moon gold metal paint, and it's meant to give a nice hammered effect to the final chest and where I'm going to paint it gold. But I'm not going to just stick this on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do some colour washes first. So I'm now ready to paint, and I've got my Mars black here that I'm going to be using, and I'm using Arteza paints because I just love their paints. and I'm making a wash, but I do make this a little bit too runny, as you'll see in a second, and I'm painting that on wherever I want the leather effect to be, and I'm not at all worried if it goes over where the gold is going to be, because actually that gives a nice undercoat to it in certain places, as you'll see later on in the video. So I've added a bit more Mars Black to it, and I'm just going through it, and I cover all the bits where I want leather. If you'd like to buy me a coffee just to say thank you for any of my videos and get your name on my Buy Me a Coffee board for April, then the link to that is in the description, and it really does help me keep this channel. So I'm now going over this with the burnt umber, and I'm using the dry brush technique. So I'm putting it in my brush, neat, and then I'm rubbing most of the paint off and then rubbing it over this paper, because what will happen is it will get picked up on the ends and on all the edges, and I go again through all the leathery bits as well. And this is a good technique to get any sort of results with highlights and things like that without having to do it intricately with a brush. So now I'm using the scarlet red, and I'm doing exactly the same. And as I said, I will tone down this scarlet red, but I want the base under there to give dimension to the look of the fake leather. So what I'm doing now is, now that's all dry, I'm using a burnt umber, which is the brown colour wash, but I'm putting it on and then rubbing it off with a cloth to get really an effect that it's been worn and touched by fingers. It will tone down all those colours, and it really does come out looking great. So there we go, that's all finished now and dried, and I'm just going over with this hammer effect paint, and I'll just paint it all, and then here we go. So the box is nearly finished now, and I'm really pleased with the way it's coming out. All I've got to do now is make the stickers, put them on the outside, and then finish off the inside, put the hinges on and the little latch. Now I've drawn the stickers and I've printed them off. I just need to cut them out and turn them into stickers. I drew these using Procreate, and I'll use my Xyron machine to turn them into stickers. And if you want to see a video on how I do that, then I'll link one at the end. So I've made my stickers now, and I just need to put them on. And I did make a 9 3/4 little ticket that I'm going to pop on just to the side of here for the station that they have to go to get to Hogwarts. I'm not going to put it central. I'm just going to pop it there like so. And then the Harry Potter is going across the middle. So the Hogwarts one I'm going to put here. And then the Gryffindor one I'm going to put on the other side. There. And the next thing to do is put the hinges and the clasp on. As you can see, I've put the first hinge on, and so I'm going to quickly just show you how I do the second hinge. And all I do is I pop the hinge where I want it to go. So I think there is perfect. And I should get a marker pen and mark a little hole where I want to have it drilled. And the reason I drill it is because you get a neater finish. You don't have to drill it if you don't want to. You could use a little hand drill, or you could just make a little hole with a bradawl or a needle or anything. But I just think it gives it a little bit neater look. And I'm going to be using my Dremel for this. And if you've not got a Dremel, then I would recommend any crafter gets a Dremel. I use it all the time for so many different things, especially with this arm on it. And then all I'll do is I will drill through there, and it's cardboard, so it's going to go really easily, and so you only need it on a nice slow speed. And because this is cardboard, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of super glue, because it will help keep those screws that I'm going to put in. And what I'll do is I'll pop this on top, getting it where the holes are, and then I will put another bit of super glue on the top, pop a screw in, and then screw it in. And don't over tighten them either, because you don't want them to be over tight. And there we go, you've got a little hinged box. And I'm going to do the same for the ones at the front, the little clasp to keep it shut, and I'll come back and then I'll show you how I'm going to line the inside. So now all the hinges and the claspers on, it's now down to sorting out the inside. So what I've made is I've made some little card inserts that will go in here that will sit just like Proud for the lid to sit onto. And you'll see those when you open the box and they'll look nice. I've painted the tops of them because I'm going to line the inside. And these are fairly simple just to put in. All you need to do is you need to add a bit of glue, pop them in until you get them to the height that you want, and then just push that in. Where would us crafters be without hot glue? There we go, and then the box will just sit on there, and you'll just see those when they come out. It just is a nice little finishing touch, I think, to the actual box. And then when you put the clasp in as well, you can't see anything through there. So I'm now going to line the inside, and that is a fairly easy job to do. And all I'm going to be using is some mock red felt that I've got laying around, but I think you could line it with anything. So this is the mock felt that I've got, and it came with a camera as a background, but I don't ever use it as a background. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting this out and then popping it into here. Now, I'm certainly no upholsterer, and I would never profess to be, so this is going to be as good as I can do it. So what I'm going to do is already got some edges all hemmed here, as you can see, so I'm going to try and cut it so that it fits nicely up to the top there and goes down. Then I'm going to do another one there and another one there using the edges that are already available to me. So I've cut all my bits now that I need to go in. So this bit's going to go in there like that with it up to the edge. And these bits are going to go on the edges all the way around. So what I need to do is attach this. Now I want to put this bit in last because that's going to cover up any sins. And all I'm going to be using is a adhesive spray for this because I find it works really, really well. But try and not be too messy with it because you don't want it everywhere. And what I'll do is I will let that dry up for just a few seconds. And then I will put these in like so, making sure I've got the edges in first and then push it down. And this really is not going to go anywhere with this spray. And then this one will go on last. And what I'm going to do is I've sprayed the bottom of that, but I want to make sure that this gets a really good covering on the back. So I'm just going to pop it into this box and then just give it a spray. And that way I can assure that it's all covered where I need it to be covered and I'm not going to get a mess everywhere. Pop that around like that to the edges. I told you I wasn't any sort of upholsterer. And that's now all lined. Not a perfect job, but it's still lined. Better than not being lined. And I'm going to go ahead and line the top, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what it all looks like completely finished. It's remarkable really that used to be just a normal Amazon box. Well, it's all finished now and I have absolutely loved making this project. It is just an upcycled box. I'd love to know what you think of it in the comments. I'm really pleased with it. I think it's been great. I've enjoyed every second of making this. It also undoes and it has its own little hinges as well. And it's got a nice red interior. I think any kid would be pleased to have this. To be honest, I think a lot of adults would be pleased to have it to put their cards in if they keep the trading cards and things like that. The hinges work beautifully. The stickers work lovely. Oh yeah, I'm really pleased with that. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. And ring that notification bell so it notifies you when I release more videos. I will be making more stuff with cardboard coming up, but I've got other projects as well that I want to be doing. And if you'd like to buy me a coffee just to say thank you for all my videos and help support this channel, then please The link is in the description. I really do appreciate it. And everybody that buys me a coffee will go on my Buy Me a Coffee wall for April. Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed it. Take care. Enjoy your crafting. Bye.